Mario! What's up, chat? What's up? What's up? We told you we're gonna do something special over here. Let me get rid of this graphic for you. How's everyone doing? Everyone had a good Tuesday. Hopefully, it's a Halloween day, baby. That's right. Let me turn this music down a little bit. It's Halloween day. What's your costume? What are you guys wearing? Send me the pictures. Post them in Discord if you are dressed up. If you're not dressed up, you know, how you feeling? How'd your day go? Is it red like the Mario's color, or is it green like Luigi? You know, did you get spooked out by the market makers, or did you spook the market makers yourself and make that big bankroll to take home with? So, you know, I see a lot of people in the chat already. I love it. I see TH saying, here's Johnny. Yeah, here's Prading. What CDP in the house? Dan Duval in the house. I like it. What's that, a bee? A mosquito? Is that a mosquito or a bee? What is that emoji over there? That's a fly. Oh, okay, it's a fly. And the first one was obviously a bee. Pretty weird. It's Sumi. Yeah. Do you know about that? I was gonna talk about that. Did you know about how Mario says it's me, Mario, right? But actually, it's not. It's me. Apparently, it's Sumi. How Cody in the chat put it, ISUMI, which actually in Japanese means super. So he's actually announcing the game's name, Super Mario. He's not saying it's me, Mario. That's a little, I don't know how true that is, but that's a little, the more you know type of feeling on the game over there. Super, right? Yeah, exactly. But yo, here we are. We're gonna have a if it's not Isumi day for you today, hopefully we'll have a Isumi day tomorrow. Lots of opportunities to talk about for the rest of the day today. So welcome, settle in. The show has just started. We have a lot of stocks to go through. We also have the FOMC day tomorrow to talk about. So a big wide list of scenarios to set up for and really get ready for all the possible money-making opportunities that the market can present us. As we always do, we're going to start off with what we traded on the day and then trickle into the earnings plays and some other stocks that we might be interested in tomorrow. The catalyst-based stocks, basically. And find those money-making opportunities, something that we love making. Money, baby. That guap, that pesos, that dollars, that rubles, that rupees. You know, we love making that. So hopefully we find some opportunities. I did ask how your day went. I see TH answered. TH said green. I like to see that. My day was pretty much flat on the day. I started red. I started pretty decently red, but I've clawed it back. I clawed it back and flat on the day / slightly red on the day, but still I'll take it. Red month, you know, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna sugarcoat my performance to you and lie and fake about my performance. Red month for me, but we got this, right? At least the number of losing days are lower than compared to last month. The amount of money we lost is lower compared to last month. So things are going in the right direction. We see a little bit more structure being built into our trades now, something that we'll go over in the next few minutes over here. I'm seeing a lot of structure being built in. I'm seeing that the old trading methodology that comes from the Trader TV era is actually, you know, not as useful as a day trader. So I'm learning more and more and evolving. So I'm loving to see that. But now that a new month is coming up, obviously tonight, the last month of October, Halloween day. Happy Halloween to everyone who does participate. But tomorrow coming with a brand new month, it's time to, you know, turn things around and start looking for those money-making opportunities starting November 1st. So let's dive in. Let's start off with our trades on the day. So we're going to go right into this full screen mode over here. This actually is a little annoying because it keeps picking at my nose. It keeps picking at my nose and it's itchy. But maybe I'll just remove it, chat. I'll just remove it. You know, there's no point in having it on right now. I'll just clean it up and then also you won't hear my voice like this or it sounds weird and so on, right? But we'll take it off. I did what I wanted to do for you, and now it's time to get to the real part of the job over here, talking about the stock market, ladies and gentlemen, the stock market. Today's first trade of the day. So why don't we start off with that, how our day started. First few trades on the day were actually Nvidia and Tesla, and this is what started off our day a little bit in the red side. Yesterday, and Tesla sold off big time to the downside, breaking that 200 and constant selling, non-stop selling. Nvidia kind of came into that contention a little bit today, right off the open. It was insane selling to the downside, breaking multiple levels, even breaking 400 later on and pushing way to the downside. So I was looking for a possible trade near the 402. I took the 402 break a couple times, got stopped out. You guys can hear my dog, right? Yeah, my dog's going crazy because people are trick-or-treating for Halloween, and my dog does not like people at the door, so he's going absolutely batshit crazy right now. So sorry if you hear the dog barking. But coming back to the market over here, tried a couple shorts over here, burnt both of them, got stopped out very quickly, and the trade never worked. I stayed away. I tried to take the 400 break, but the 400 break, Jesus Christ, my dog is going crazy. I tried to take the 400 break, but the 400 break never actually gave me a fill, so I wasn't going to chase it. The stock did pop back into 400, at which point I was being a little hesitant on being short, so I missed out on a nice little good trade opportunity over here around 400 today. Monster sell-off later on in the day, all the way to 393, and then Nvidia actually turns around and comes all the way back where some of the patterns to the downside breaks, and the market was trying to go back up north side. We were expecting the market to have an inside day today, but the market actually ended up breaking out a little bit to the north side and having a decent green day for the QQQ at least, and that helped out Nvidia claw itself all the way back above 400 or close enough to 400 as far as I remember. We will be talking about it more in depth tomorrow, later on in the stream. So this was the first trade, nice little loser to start off our day. Then we're looking at Tesla. So Tesla right around yesterday's low. So after getting under yesterday's low and in pre-market areas, I tried a quick little short once it popped back up, got stopped out on that short fairly quickly once it reclaims yesterday's low. So I said, okay, I'm done with that trade. I'll wait for somewhere around yesterday's close. So pops into yesterday's close right around these areas. You can see where the stock possibly could have some rejection. So once it starts to curl a little bit, I get in with the risk around high day. That one gets stopped out. Then I try a couple more shorts once it comes back after making a new high day into yesterday's close again when the market was selling off. So I got short again and that got burned. So this is like 3 losses on this stock, or 4 technically, and then 2 losses on Nvidia to start off the day. Already losing a lot of my confidence, already losing like, oh man, here we go again. We're gonna have another awesome week where we start off the week red and then we just continuously lose and just give up all the money that we love making. So lost my confidence over there, and because of that, I didn't really take the size that I would have liked to take on the good trades that we actually got into, and those were Pinterest and ANET. Pinterest was the trade we got into right after losing on Tesla and Nvidia. Pinterest was kind of selling off the open. This was around the same time we were trading Tesla, I guess, but right after we were trading Nvidia. Got long right around the earnings anchored VWAP, which the stock flushes into, but then pops right quickly as soon as we flush into that area. The next 5-minute candle shows something similar. We do get below the earnings VWAP, but then starts popping right back up. So focusing on that information, I'm ready to take some size over here. I wish I took a lot more size because my stop was so tight to the downside, not really risking too much. So I missed out on a big P&L day on a killer trade. Got long, scalped out first few profits at a 2:1 risk to reward, and then I held some for a bigger move into the high day. Once it started consolidating and showing me some sort of a resistance around this area, I said, you know what, I'm taking my money and running. But if I did have more size, I would have possibly held it for a bigger trade. At least I would have hoped to think that I would have held it for a bigger trade, which didn't end up happening. I do try a high day break with the stop right back into the range over here, and that one gets triggered. I miss out on that move once again on Pinterest for a bigger move. But my second most profitable stock on the day, Pinterest, especially after starting the day with pretty decent losers on Nvidia and Tesla, ruining my confidence on the day. This one builds the confidence back up. The difference between Pinterest and Nvidia and Tesla is how I traded them. Nvidia, no real plan, very aggressive on how I want to enter my trades. Pinterest, I did have a plan, and I was very passive on how I want to enter my trades. Nvidia, if you were passive and waited for 400 to break and pop back into 400, the highest the stock went was up to maybe 399, 95, or 90s in general. You could have got back in the 90s and put your stop above 400, right? So passive fills over there could have possibly gave me an entry on Nvidia. So something that I'm realizing the more I'm trading, especially with the new group and the new mentor and so on, is passive trading is way less stressful. And I actually forgot something for you guys. Let me turn on this, and I think we go to pins. So passive trading has actually been way less stressful, right? You throw your order. If it fills, it fills. If it doesn't fill, oh well, move on, right? And when you do get the fills on those positions, your risk is so small, and your reward is always way better than 2:1, 3:1, 4:1, that the trade kind of plays by itself. So I'm shifting more and more away from just aggressively punching into levels, aggressively taking a trade, and just waiting patiently, waiting passively for my prices to come in. And that's where Pinterest and the next stock that we're going to talk about, which is ANET, comes into play. So beautiful long on Pinterest over here. We'll talk about this stock for another trade tomorrow. But here's possible areas where you could have entered into the stock, possible areas where your stops could have been if you did enter at these levels. So price point 1 over here, right at the hold of the earnings anchored VWAP, you could have entered with the stop around the low a day. Second entry right around this range low that we have mapped out yesterday for you guys on the stream, somewhere around $29 or so. If it does hold that area, you could get long, and it looks like it does reject this area a little bit, but then pops back up. You could have got long with the stop over here. And this third one, once it breaks out of this area, which is something we tried, I guess, but we tried it a little bit too early. But yeah, once it breaks out of this range consolidation and starts breaking out with the stop right around over here, we also had an improper stop. So this is something that I'm also starting to do, which is not only taking notes of my own trades, but also taking pictures of trades that we possibly could have taken and mapping them out. That way we can kind of put this library of these plays and opportunities in our head. The next time we see it, we capitalize on it. We take that opportunity. We're ready for it, and we're not just blindly entering into places for no reason, right? Couple opportunities over here and here, in my opinion, on the way up to Pinterest. For any other day that we see any other stock showing up opportunities like this, we'll look to trade those. Next up is I think instead of ANET, let's actually go to TQQ and SQQ. Which one is this? Oh, Pfizer. Pfizer, we do try. Let me quickly see which one is Pfizer here. There we go. Pfizer, we do try a short on the break of 30, even though we said yesterday I'm not interested in trading Pfizer, especially before 10 o'clock, because 10 o'clock is the earnings call, but we still did anyways for some reason. I don't know why. I'm going to blame Momo for this. I'm sure Momo's not watching the stream right now. She never is. But, only reason I traded it because it had earnings, and Momo always talks about Pfizer with me in my DMs, so I just stayed in the back of my head over there, tried to force a trade at 30, gave it too much of risk in my opinion. I got filled around 29.95 at 30.11. It's like, come on, what are you doing, Prad? So even though I didn't really lose too much, it was just the fact that I gave it way too much risk, and the fill was not really close to 30 as I would have liked it to be. Later on in the day, after the earnings call happens and the stock does push all the way back down to 30, I got short right around $30 or so, and I had a stop above 30.05, which ends up triggering, and then I say, hey, I'm done with this stock. I'm not trading it anymore. If the earnings call and the earnings report are neither of them are going to help the stock find some selling under 30, then there's no point in me trying to keep forcing that short. Yes, it might be down on the day. Yes, the catalyst is weak. The COVID, the earnings report is negative. The COVID demand is lower. So all things considered, the stock should technically be going down, but this $30 price managing to hold, especially since 9:30 to 12 o'clock, so no point in looking to force these trades and basically looking like a wedge pattern. We'll just have to wait for it to break out whenever it does, and then possibly look for some trades. The Pfizer adding to the losing bucket of stocks for the day. The other stock over here we have is SQQQ. SQQQ, yeah, 3Qs. Right over here, around one of the levels that we have mapped out, I thought QQQ was looking to be weak and break out to the downside from this areas that we have mapped out. So instead of going short QQQ, because I could manage my risk way better, I got long SQQ. And once I noticed that, hey, none of these candles on the 5-minute chart actually closed below that level, and we're actually holding above that level. So I don't think this is a short. So focusing on that, I instantly closed that short, flipped long, and then I got shaken out a little bit on this flush to the downside over here, as it looked like it wanted to go test a lower day. But basically an inverse head and shoulders on the 1-minute chart for the TQQ. Got long, was able to scalp some good longs to the upside. Beautiful 2R 3R wins on the stock over here on the long, as the market did manage to go from red to green and getting right back up to the upside, ending 0.4% up on the QQQ basket if I remember accurately. Would have loved to get back in this stock multiple times later on in the day, but wasn't really thinking about those opportunities, wasn't really looking for it, so I can't say that we missed out on those over there. But yeah, good bounce on the market today. I think the S&P 500 did manage to go up to 4,200 if I remember accurately. Let's go see if it did. It did. Yeah, see, it did go up to 4,200. It went up to 4,207 most likely in the after hours. That's 31st. We close at 16. I think we close at 16. So yeah, right before going into the after hours, we did break out of 4,200 on wait a minute. No, we broke that a long time ago, probably at 1 o'clock or so. Yeah, so the market actually managed to break 4,200 on the S&P 500 futures and get back up north. So shout out to that market. We're pretty damn strong today. But let's go back to our trade on the day, and then we can get back to the market overall and talk about the FOMC trades and so on. ANET coming out with earnings yesterday pre-market. We never actually planned any trades on ANET. No, didn't even know that the stock announced earnings, I'll be honest. But one of my managers, let me quickly change. Oh, ANET should be the first one. Yeah. One of my managers pointed out that he's watching the stock, and it's very interesting as the stock is popping into the all-time high / 52-week high. Let's just say all-time high, right? Popping into this all-time high. Good relative volume in pre-market itself, showing strength in pre-market to the way it was trading in pre-market. This orange area on the 5-minute chart that I'm highlighting to you right now is the pre-market ranges that the stock was trading in. So having the earnings anchored VWAP, once the stock does pull into those ranges and show you buying 5, 10, 15, 20. For 20 minutes, the stock basically struggled to push too much further than 188, 189 on ANET, and then started going back higher. Right after we reclaimed today's VWAP, this red line that you're seeing, or even this red line on the chart, right after we reclaim today's VWAP is when I actually get ready to go long. A better consolidation over here on the 1-minute chart with a tighter risk to reward. You know, I wasn't really risking much lower than 190.50 on my long at 191, so about 50 cents to $1 risk basically. But my manager did say that you know, your risk should be basically 188 because that's where the buyers were. So why would you get stopped out before that 188 breaks? I kind of don't disagree with them. He is right, but I'm never going to let a damn stock slip that far. So I probably get stopped out on this break, and then I can get back in over here later on, right? I can always get back in. I'm not going to give a stock that much of slippage. Just that doesn't sit mentally right with me, right? Even though the risk to reward still ends up being a 3R, 2R, 4R trade, with what ends up happening with the stock, it just doesn't sit mentally right with me to give that much of risk. So probably get stopped out on the break of this area, and then I can look for a long back over here. But if this stock breaks this area, gets back under today's VWAP, and gets back to today's low a day, then probably the long is dead. I don't even want to be looking for the long at that lows at that moment, right? So that's something to keep in mind if that pattern does end up showing up for another trade tomorrow or somewhere in the future. If it does show strength at VWAP, rejects VWAP, today's VWAP basically, and pushes back down and tests the low a day, you want to be careful with that Tesla low a day, because usually this pattern, which is a frowny face, if you ignore all of this here, let me just try to do this for us. You just kind of ignore all of this move over here that you're seeing, and just imagine the chart just went like this to the downside. That frowny face is not something that you want to be looking for buying down over here. So you want to be ignoring that stock at that moment. But this pattern showing you good strength, holding today's VWAP, got long, passive entry. Once again, like I said, the difference between entering into a position passively versus aggressively has been monumental difference in my trading style, and even in PNL, and even in the mental stress of a trade. So passively throwing out an order around 191 and just saying, if I get filled, I get filled. If not, it's okay. I wasn't even planning to trade the stock on the day today. We do get filled a couple times. It does look a little bit scary as it does go all the way down to 190.50, but never really manages to break 190.50. Later on does push up higher and higher and higher. Right around 195.50, the stock struggles to go higher. At one point does manage to break 195.50, but only goes up to 195.70 and then stuffed right back to the downside. So seeing that happen, I said, you know what, I'm not gonna be happy watching this stock reject today's high and flush right back to VWAP. I'm about $3-4 in the money for risking $1. I have $3 already. It's kind of stupid not to take that profit, since I didn't really have too much size on this trade. I could have only got in and out once, and I made the money, I made the profits, capitalized on that move over there. But it just sucks to not be able to manage this trade properly, because how should we have managed it? We could have had a trail stop. There we go, that's the word. We could have had a trail stop somewhere around these lows, and once it popped up, we could have trailed the stop a little bit higher. And eventually, if you do see what happened with the stock today, here's ANET going all the way up to $200. This is not even the whole day. This is around 11:45. So if we go over here, show you what ANET actually did on the day. I think it went up to 201, 202 at one point. High a day today, 201.46, and that is now the new all-time high on ANET. So shout out to this cloud computing company making the success on the earnings report and popping up to the north side. The PE is only 32. It's not drastically high like some of the companies out there in the world are. So that's a pretty good thing. The ATR is about $7 on this position today, moving about $20 to the upside, and this is only on whatever happened over here. So if we actually go here and see what happened, yeah, it moved about $24 to the upside overall. So big multi ATR, big RVOL move also on this position. Probably could keep this one on watch for tomorrow too, but I don't expect volume to continue to stay juicy on this one. That means more spread, a little bit nasty action. So you got to be careful. But as the stock has made a new all-time high, possible more trades coming in the near future for this one. Couple areas to look for entries on this stock. Obviously, I marked my entry because I think that's sorry, this is my entry over here. That's the entry I had, but this is the entry that I missed, that I think one of my coworkers pointed out for me. He's like, hey, this is where you could have entered with the risk right down over here, or even at that 188, which is what my manager was talking about. There's a buyer at 188. Why would you ignore that buyer and close your position from the second number that I have over here before you see what happens near that buyer? But yeah, no, I'm stopping out over here and I'm getting back in somewhere closer if that's the case. So I could have entered over here with the stop somewhere here or here. I could have entered over here with the stop over there, which is what I do. And then I could have entered again over here with the stop somewhere over here, which still gives you a good trade to the upside. And as we showed you, the stock does manage to go right back above 200 and giving you a nice little high, actually pulling back into the previous 52-week high / previous all-time high and bouncing right off that price point to move a little bit more to the north side. So shout out to ANET today. We'll have this one on the watch list without a doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, my dog going crazy again. I love it. So now that this is the watch list, now that we've talked about all the stocks that we want to talk about for tomorrow, why don't we dive into the juicy watch list that we have prepared for you guys? My dog is going batshit crazy. You guys hear that? It's insane. Okay. Here's the watch list for you guys for tonight, for tomorrow. A couple stocks. Most of the stocks are obviously earnings based. It's earnings season, right? It's earnings season, the most fun season. Thankfully, we get 4 of those every year, and it's just non-stop, continuous. So I do. It gives the catalyst to trade out of. What do you want from me? It gives the catalyst to trade off of. So more of a reason to take a look at these positions. Couple stocks that are announcing earnings after hours today. AMD, FSLR, Paycom. Something about Paycom doesn't really scream exciting to me. Low price, low volume, but it's there. We'll look at it. CZR, MTCA. CZR also in the same basket as Paycom. Low volume, high price stock, so crazy spread. I think it's a high price stock. Maybe not. We'll come back to that point. But low volume and might not be the greatest of trades tomorrow, but something to keep an eye out for. Tomorrow's stocks coming out with earnings pre-market. We got a couple stocks over here and all their conference call times. So NCLH at 10 o'clock, CVS at 8 o'clock, W, which is Wayfair at 10 a.m., Kraft Heinz at 9 a.m., GNRC at 10 a.m., and Estelordia, I think that's how you say it. I can never say their name right. Estelodier. Look, I don't care. EL conference call coming out at 9:30, basically a market open. So watch out for anything that has a conference call past 9:30. Obviously, that could make or break your trade, especially if you're on the wrong side of the money flow. So you want to be careful on there. Couple back burner plays / earning plays. Most of these are basically earning plays, but the Zillow coming in with a little bit of a news catalyst over there. So we'll talk about the Zillow to see if we can find any day 2 continuation, day 2 continuation, because today was a day 1, and obviously the Magnificent 7, which I think will do zilch tomorrow, because tomorrow is FOMC day. We got Papa Powell coming in at 2 o'clock. So at 2:30, Papa Powell will be on the podium answering questions from the media and basically dissecting the information over there for everyone to understand more as what's the direction the FOMC committee is going into to fight the beast named inflation, right? So that's at 2:30 tomorrow on the podium, but the interest rate decisions comes out at 2 o'clock sharp. So that's going to be another big market moving event. Are the FOMC committee going to pause the rate hikes? Are they going to cut rate hikes? Are they going to increase rate hikes? Are they going to plan, or are they going to talk about it's time to now actually not hold it for longer and cut it, or is it planned to hold it for a little bit longer, or is it planned to hold it for longer but not as long as we wanted to? So a lot of scenarios over here, a lot of stuff to prepare for. The tonality of FOMC committee chairman Powell also matters a lot at the 2:30 time period. So couple things to get ready for. But first, we're gonna start with our favorite basket of stocks, obviously earnings plays, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go to I'm just gonna shuffle through all of these before I find the earnings play that I'm looking for. There we go. AMD. So let's start off with our trades on the day, or earnings move for AMD. Looks like AMD actually started off by selling off to the downside on the earnings report. Positive earnings report. Nice. Let's go. Positive earnings report. Sold off first, but then looks like the conference call kind of came in and rallied this position. This is something that I noticed also on, if I remember accurately, I think it was Amazon. Yeah, it was Amazon. So we have two anchor VWAPs, which is one from the earnings move, right? That happens to be this one. And then we have another one from the conference call, which happens to be later on in the day where the stock actually managed to make another move right back into the high a day where it struggled off the earnings move. So this, why is that important to me? So look at this anchored VWAP. That's basically where the stock gave you a long later on. The conference call anchored VWAP, the buyer, the more relevant uh, 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 pop on this position is what got respected. Obviously, later on in the day, the earnings VWAP came in, and the conference call wasn't as relevant going into the future over here for Amazon. And I think kind of we can just turn this one into a little bit of a lighter shade. So because I don't think it's that important anymore, the more important one for me is obviously the earnings call. But sorry, the earnings move. But tomorrow, AMD kind of looks very similar to that. Does that not? Look, we flushed off the earnings move. Later on, we actually get a bigger pop and right back to the north side. So that's a little bit important. We're going to quickly name this one earnings. We're going to name this one conference call. See, look at that. My niece is yelling at my mom saying I don't like you because my mom's trying to school her or correct her, I guess, in some ways. She's like, I don't like you. Oh, it's so cute. Little kids, man. Little kids are so cute. AMD. So AMD over here, obviously, with earnings call coming in, flushing, conference call helping it push back up. Now the question is, do we reclaim that magnificent $100 area? It might be time to nuke some of my lines on AMD, honestly. Why don't we just do that? Delete, 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 delete. What are some of these lines over here? I know one of these orange lines is where I'm actually long on this stock, so we can delete that one too. I don't care about that being on the chart. We can delete that. We can also delete that bad boy. And we can delete you too. We don't care about you. Okay, now that we have most of our lines and nonsense that we don't want on the stock deleted, now let's kind of focus on I don't really know. I mean, this doesn't really have too many straight out, flat out horizontal levels, right? It has more of ranges that you might be interested in. No real flat out levels, in my opinion. So very choppy action on Nvidia. I mean, that whole range on Nvidia, on AMD, that whole range, in my opinion, from 107 to 111 could just act as a barrier tomorrow going into the north side. We still haven't even broken 100, right? But if we do get above 100, I believe this whole range can act as a distribution slash, what's the other word over there, demand slash supply, right? Let's just make it easier for us instead of having to scratch our brains too hard. So this range over here acted as supply demand for a little bit, but now we're seeing it clearly act as supply. So I'm gonna be ready to see what happens on the higher end of these ranges and on the lower end of these ranges if we do pop up over there. The 50 period EMA, the 100 period EMA, both of them are currently at $104 slash $103, which is also a price point that we have seen being relevant previously on the stock. So that's something to keep in mind. 52-week high. And I like that. See how the weakness on the 52-week high comes in constantly? That's something that I wish I had mapped out earlier, because I would have possibly offloaded my long-term position a little bit better. See? Got a lot. It's just anchored VWAPs are the beauty. I love anchored VWAPs. Shout out to Brian Shannon. That's a possible level over there, but that's also another whole range, man. That's yikes. Technically, I mean, this range is once again stupid wide. That's about a $5 range. AMD does not need that big of a range, in my opinion. But this range again over here, a little important in my opinion on this stock. So maybe we can do something like that. there. Now we have ranges mapped out a little bit. I don't think we go anywhere into 111, 115, 120 tomorrow. Is just too much of a pop expected on AMD to go there. I don't see it happening. Also, got to keep in mind that it is FOMC day tomorrow. There's a good chance that AMD does pop, break 100, maybe goes to 103 or maybe goes to 107, but nothing too much further than that in my opinion, at least not before 2 o'clock, right? Think about it. No big hedge funds, no big traders out there who are actually trading stocks and positioning themselves every single day or every single month or year are going to position before one of the most important catalysts on the day slash the quarter slash the month or whatever it is. So I'm not going to expect too much above 100 on this position, but it is pretty important to see what AMD clearly does above 100, and then we have a bunch of levels, some demand zones slash supply zones to possibly look towards to see what happens if the stock does manage to get above there. So simple and clean. See what happens above near 100. FS, before we move on, make sure we save the charts because yesterday that was a little buggy for us. Let's go over to the next couple stocks that we are going to look at over here. First one coming up, FSLR. Right off the bat, I can see that looks like the earnings were beat, but they did miss on revenue. They missed on revenue, but they did come out with the EPS better than expected. Actually, quite a bit better than expected. Almost 50 cents better than expected over there. And only losing about 100 million on the revenue, which is about 11 million miss on FSLR. I'm wondering if they popped up or down. Looks like they actually popped up to the north side on the earnings move. This is 402, even better, as long as it's not earnings. Okay, and I mean, that doesn't really look too good, right? The stock didn't really trade too much volume up here. Look at the lack of volume. Most of the volume traded right around those prices, and the earnings VWAP is pretty much around where the stock closed at today. We closed at 142.45. Earnings VWAP is at 142.75, but we did get back above 150, so that's a little important to keep an eye out. It's right back into these ranges though. It's not like it's breaking out of any ranges. So right back into these ranges, possible support at 150 or possible support on the dip buys into 145 could give us some longs over there, but be careful to see what happens near 160, right? 160 possible resistance, possible R into 158 to 160. Look to see what happens near 150 and 145/143 areas. Could give you dip buys into 143/145. 150 is inflection in my opinion, since it's middle of the range in dailies, and 158/160 looks like a wall. But if can get above and stay, could look for longs, but that's more swing trade in my opinion. Okay, Paycom. What number are we on? We're on number 8. Let's go to number 9. Oh no, that's FSLR. We already missed it. So let me just quickly have that animation pop up again. Maybe not. We'll just straight up go to Paycom. Who cares? We'll just straight up go to Paycom as this one's earnings coming out after hours today. It looks like it didn't really do. Oh no, it's a daily chart. Let's go to the 1 minute chart. That's also not the right ticker. Paycom. There we go. Paycom. Oh, big sell off in Paycom over here. Absolute destruction. Wait, Paycom is a way higher price stock, and also does volume. Was I looking at a completely different stock when I was doing research on Paycom earlier today? I guess so. I was completely wrong on this. Yeah, Paycom actually does decent volume. That's a monthly chart. This is no, this was the stock I didn't do. I wasn't wrong. Yeah, on earnings days it does barely 1 million shares. I was looking on the all-time chart and I was like, wait, 11 million? I didn't see that when I was doing research. Right, but no, on the daily chart, you can see how the average volume on the stock for the last 20 days is around 500,000 shares. On earnings days, it does bring in a little bit of volume. Today's volume is actually 1.8 million apparently, but the after hour move over here is pretty drastically into just one direction straight, and that is to the south side, sadly, as the earnings move seems to have hurt the stock today, and could have triggered SSR. It could have just triggered SSR. So let's go. I mean, easily could have triggered SSR. It's down more than 10%. It's down 30% on a good earnings report. Slight miss on revenue, decent beat on EPS, but I'm guessing what happened over here on Paycom. I'm guessing something to do with guidance. Full year revenue is, yeah, the guidance for the full year revenue 2023 is well under the estimates, and sees Q4 revenue coming in also under the estimates. So the guidance is actually not looking good. Employee guided payroll into Mexico. What's going on over there? Leading provider, comprehensive cloud, blah 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 blah. With our recent launch into Canada and now Mexico, we continue to extend our geographic reach and provide tremendous value to businesses that embrace do-it-yourself payroll with Betty, said Paycom founder, chairman, and CEO Chad Rickson. Okay. Paycom will offer businesses in Mexico payroll and tax management, differentiating it from other payroll products in the country, according to the commissioned total. Oh, who cares about the rest of this shit? Okay, anyways, Paycom apparently entered Canada and Mexico, helping people manage payrolls, kind of do it yourself instead of having to hire human resources and an accountant and doing all that nonsense. So shout out to that, but sadly they are guiding lower for the full year and for the next quarter coming up, and that hurt in the stock, dropping it about, I mean, that's a freaking big drop. $250 to now $160. That's insane. Let's see where that stock actually goes to on a longer time frame. I mean, we're now going to COVID lows almost. What? Oh, what? COVID lows? Hey, yo. Hey, yo. This has got to be a SSR long tomorrow. That's a wide range. That's a $10 range, Prad. Are you on drugs? The answer is yes, by the way, Chad, if you're wondering. The answer is always yes. I mean, do I even need to put a line over here? I don't see the stock coming back to 250 tomorrow. If anything, it maybe goes closer to 200, but instant heads off at 200 as people will be looking to offload off of that trade. I mean, sheesh, man. COVID lows. Let's go right back into the chart. Look at that. Prastradamus strikes once again. Where's the Prastradamus emoji? Prastradamus. Oh, that's not the right one, but make sure you go reply to your mom's message by hitting the like and subscribe button. But there we go. There's the Prastradamus strikes one more time. We just put those levels down in front of you. Yeah, kind of knew whether the stock was already here. But, it just showed you how we looked for that level, right? We looked for those lows. Then we mapped out the range. And the range is basically being held in the after hours at the moment. So if for any reason the stock does hold the lower end of these ranges, in my opinion, there is a long here, right? In my opinion, there's a long over here. But does the market agree? And that can only be answered tomorrow, or we have to wait. But let's go quickly look at some other variables. The company does make money. They have a PE of 44, not too crazily high, but it's not too low either. I think Apple's at like 20 something. Right, Apple 28, Tesla is at like 200 if I remember correctly, 64 now. So Paycom at 40 is kind of bad. Not the best, kind of bad. But you know, that PE is gonna drop now after going down to 160, 150, whatever the hell prices they're at. And might be looking at a better spot for investors. Anyone who thought Paycom was worth it during COVID era and missed out the train on the stock to the north side is gonna wanna, you know, possibly pick up some shares down over here. However, if this area does break and we do go below 163.50 to 160, let's say, there's the abyss that opens up on this position. There's way more downside to be ready for. So just be careful. Paycom looks boop 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 boop. That's a $10 range, Prading. I'm just gonna put COVID low range. Hopefully that's how you spell abyss. If I did want to short the stock on pops, where would I want to short it? I mean, the only level I want to wait for is basically 199 and 200, right? We can look at the anchored VWAP, but you know, if the stock is moving up to the north side, I kind of don't want to come in the way. There's going to be a lot of profit takers who are short. There's going to be new investors who are long. And that's a lot of momentum, a lot of pressure to the upside on this stock. And the stock's going to be on SSR. So new shorts are going to be harder to get into this position. So if it does pop, I want to stay away until 190 and 200. If there is a move up, stay away from shorts until 190 and 200. Okay. CZR, Caesar Milan, Caesar Palace, Caesar Entertainment. That's the right word we're looking for. Coming out with another casino earnings report. Recently, we did have Las Vegas Sands. It said they had earnings at 1603, but that's a big candle over there. I think I just want to put it at that candle. I'm just going to put it at that candle. Me don't give a shit, okay? Earnings. Although we're supposed to technically put it on no, I don't care. So earnings over here for Caesar Palace, Caesar Entertainment, not really too much of a move. The stock also doesn't really do too much volume. I mean, 5 million shares for a $30 stock is not bad, but it's not the best. It's not the best, right? Not something that screams exciting. And if you can see, the after hour move didn't really go too much higher into the higher end of these ranges anyways. It just made a little bit of a pop into 40. So I mean, just into 40 is right over here, right into the 20 period SMA. So not too much of a move. I don't think the stock's going to be too exciting tomorrow. It's basically going into a range that we've been in for the whole goddamn year, plus a little bit more than a year. So it's going to be on the back burner for me. Back burner trade. If it does show some volume tomorrow in pre-market, maybe we can get a little bit excited from that one. Match.com coming out with earnings report after hours today. Looks like a lot of undecided move first, and then later on the volume picked up and the numbers were actually green, but the stock pushed down. This also belongs in the Caesar basket for me, honestly. I mean, doesn't really scream too exciting. There are some levels though, that $30 area. If we can hold 30 on any flushes, possible longs off that 30. But I'm honestly more excited to trade FSLR, Paycom, and AMD than these two. I don't think they're going to be that exciting to trade these two tomorrow. Did we just get a new subscriber? I heard that noise. Shout out to whoever hit the subscribe button. We haven't heard that noise in a long time. Shout out to that subscriber. Yay! We're growing the channel one more time. Christopher Davis coming in saying, good evening, Prad. What's up, my friend? How you doing? Happy Halloween. Hopefully you had a great day today. And hopefully you have an even better day tomorrow, as we are starting November tomorrow, baby. November 1st. coming up. Talking about November 1st coming up, we also have a bunch of earnings stocks coming up along with it tomorrow pre-market. A couple of the stocks that we're going to be looking from that basket is NCLH, CVS, Wayfair, KHC, GNRC, EL. So starting first, NCLH, I think I need to first go over here, turn off that toggle, turn on the second toggle, which will do this stuff, however. We're just going to have to deal with it. Yeah, we're just gonna have to deal with it. WDC? No, not WDC. There we go. NCLH is the stock we're talking about, which is Norwegian Cruise Line. Recently, RCL, CCL both announced their earnings report. I think they were green earnings reports, but didn't really help out these stocks too much. So NCLH kind of in that same basket, if you ask me. The travel basket stocks have been hurt for quite a bit. American Airlines finally forming a little bit of a base and looks like it wants to curl back up. It's still rejecting the earnings VWAP though, right? So not looking too exciting just yet, but once we can pop back above earnings VWAP, show some support above earnings VWAP. American Airlines possible long on a swing term scale, but the NCLH and all these other cruise liners have been beat down. The earnings reports are not helping them. This stock looks a little bit better than CCL in regards to where it is on the daily chart. CCL was around the 52-week low. This is not really at the 52-week low yet, but it's not that far from there. But RCL looks a little bit better than NCLH at the end of the day, which is nice and higher in the higher end of the ranges overall. In regards to trade for tomorrow, the numbers come out pre-market. There are some areas that we could possibly look for trades, somewhere around 12, somewhere around 15 or 14.50, and some more ranges up to the north side, and a couple ranges to the downside that I will be interested to see what the stock does off that earnings report. And keep in mind the conference call is at 10 o'clock, so you want to be very careful going into 10 o'clock and holding a decent sized position on NCLH, because that can burn you very quickly if you're caught offside. So be very careful around 10 o'clock trading this position. The next few stocks over here, CVS sold off recently quite a bit. I mean, the biotech, CVS not really a biotech. It's more of a retail biotech stock, but biotech stocks have been hurt. Moderna, Pfizer, and everything else. I guess CVS kind of just joining that negative catalyst overall and pushing back to the downside. But now with tomorrow's earnings report, we do have a couple solid levels over here to possibly be interested in. I like the fact that we tried to break that level, but never really managed to in the recent past around September near $65. But however, I think if the earnings report is coming negative, I think we go test that 65 and break below 65. I don't have a crystal ball, right? No crystal ball over here, so I don't really know what's gonna happen 100% guarantee, but those are the areas that I would like to see what happens. Does the tape get active? Does it show selling into 65? Does it show buying at 65? And that's the details that I'm gonna be looking forward for to possibly make a trade out of on CVS. Conference call 8 a.m. coming for these guys. Wayfair conference call 10 o'clock again, like NCLH. But the range on Wayfair not really too exciting, and the volume also not really too exciting. Only 6 million shares traded on Wayfair over here. But looks like it's planning to hold this range pretty damn well. That 30-50, let's just say $30, all the way from $28 to $30 area, holding pretty damn well. Once again, something like that CVS stock that you just saw us map out. If Wayfair pushes straight into the 52-week lows over here at $28 to $30, shows some buying. I don't care if the earnings report's positive or green, because all that does is create a bias for us, and sometimes make us force a trade too much because we're too opinionated and too biased off that report. Who cares about the reports green or red? All we care is where the money being flown into and follow that money, right? So if buying does show up at this $28, $30 area, possible longs over there. But if weakness shows up into 30 and you're seeing 28 also get smashed, more short side on Wayfair. The stock is, however, trading at $42 right now. Expecting the stock going to 28 might be a little bit too much, but that depends on the earnings report. It all depends on the earnings report. Next stock, K8C. Their earnings call is at 9 o'clock. Also near the 52-week low. I don't remember if it was K8C or if it's a different stock that came from being bankrupt back into the stock market. Was it K8C? No, it was Hertz. It was Hertz. I always get confused between the tickers of K8C and Hertz. HTZ is Hertz, I think. That's right. Okay. K8C. Why would I get confused about them? They have two completely different tickers. The only common letter is H. That's weird. But the K8C, 52-week lows. Do I even need to say it? Companies be throwing away ketchup packets anytime you order food from them. It's almost like it's free. It costs nothing apparently to make ketchup, or these companies are paying a shit ton to Kraft Heinz, but it doesn't cost these companies anything, and they just give away ketchup and mustard and relish and all those condiments for free. So I don't know how that whole system works. I need to probably watch a YouTube video on something about how Heinz really makes money, because for me it's just all of a big confusion. Overall though, we all know that a lot of homes, almost every home in North America has a ketchup bottle, most likely made by Kraft Heinz. So I'm not expecting their earnings report to go down. They also give out a dividend, so more and more reason for investors to buy up this position if it does sell off. It's a household staple name. Everyone knows this company. And it's also a grandfather stock. It's an old grandpa stock that the people who buy up these positions, they rarely trade them. They hold it for a longer time scale. They hold it to retirement and death and pass it to their family members. So all those things considered, looking for a short on K8C is a little bit stupid if you ask me, right? Looking for a short on K8C is a little bit stupid, but based on the earnings report, we'll see what happens. If it does go down into the lower end of these ranges, maybe some longs over there. I'm actually going to be repainting all of these stocks in this basket over here tomorrow morning, because obviously the levels that come off of earnings move are a little bit more relevant for me than some of the past moves over here. Once we make that earnings move, then I'll kind of zoom in and out, go on different time frames, go to a 15-minute, 60-minute, 30-minute, 10-minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds. I was joking about the seconds ones, but go from small time frames to larger time frames to find those key levels on the chart, and then tape read and look for the patterns on the stocks to kind of get into trades, hopefully passively and not too aggressively. Okay. Why did that just change completely? Awesome. Let's go to GNRC. Also coming out with earnings report tomorrow, conference call at 10 o'clock. A little bit of a drop in after hours for some reason on very light volume. Not sure why. Decent day on the market, on the stock today to the upside, but recently has been selling off quite a bit. Volume not the best, only about 1 million shares or so. Sometimes on earnings days it could bring in 5 to 7 million shares apparently, but not the biggest spike in volume over here. And the price of the stock is pretty expensive too. Not really that expensive, but it's an expensive price stock. So lack of volume could mean spreads could be nasty. So you want to be a little bit careful trading GNRC tomorrow if it doesn't have volume. And obviously if the earnings report ends up being a dud, then you might as well go trade some other positions that give you a better risk to reward opportunity. It's almost like every stock that we're pulling up right now is just getting beat up. Estee Lauder, how do you say it? Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder?
Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder.
Yeah, that sounds stupid. Whoever named this company sounds stupid. What is it named out of, and what does it mean? Probably named off of someone's name. Yeah, exactly. It's named out of the Lauder company. It's a woman? You founded this company in when? 1946? I'm not trying to be sexist, chat. I'm just trying to ask some questions over here. I didn't think women were allowed to even work back then. Or was that a little bit before 1946? That's why I said it's a woman question mark. But I do see Joseph over here, and Joseph was probably running the business, and she's probably the face of the company, being the an American business co-founder with her husband. Okay. Maybe I thought she was like some sort of a movie star that possibly got famous and then started selling cosmetics through that, but it looks like that's not the case. Hungarian Jewish. Oh, career. Huh, she just got famous just by doing makeup. Shout out to her. Shout out to Auntie Esty because she popped off. I mean, that now this company makes shit ton of money every year. Joseph has a big hand in that too. Let's be real. But Auntie ST popping off. Sadly, though, the company's valuation has been nearly cut in half since the last time I've seen it trade. $300 or so, now near 160, right back into COVID lows and actually breaking below COVID lows. So now this earnings report will help us see if we can get back above COVID lows, or do we find some support back into these areas right around December 2018 areas, which is kind of looking like it wants to bounce off of. I mean, look, this stock hasn't missed the earnings report in a while. This is spanning back years. Looks like not a single miss from 2012 to 2020. One miss and then another miss, right? Probably during the financial crisis areas, whatever the COVID crisis and the bank crisis that happened, most likely, I'm guessing, or probably some sort of a big miss on earnings report. I mean, that volume spike says it all. Big volume spike and a big gap down on that stock. Finally, moving back into previous prices where the stock was thought about very, very esteemedly. And so whoever bought these prices at 2018, they better show up again over here, because if they like the stock at this price at 2018, they might love the stock over here at this price now. Could be wrong, obviously. Different interest rate time periods, different characteristics on the market, different situations happening. So, but the overall idea is I want to see if this area can be respected and held, especially off the earnings report. It looks like that's around 122 to $120. So watch out for is that 2018? Yeah, October 2018 lows. That's a pretty damn long ago period coming back into play for EL. All right, now quickly let's go to. Are we on EL over here? No, we're still on NCLH. Damn it, Prad, you need to get better at changing these, man. Oh, right, we're out of slots, sadly. So let's turn them off. Let's turn on this one, and then we can hopefully quickly add. What else do we have on the watch list today? Let's see. What else do we have on the watch list? We have a bunch of these stocks, so we can add them right over here. Give me a second, chat. Let me just get all this set up real quick. I only have 10 slots at a time, sadly, so I can't do all of these at once. WDC, Pinterest, Wolf. Then we have PFE. Then Caterpillar Z. Caterpillar Z. Turn you off. And then we have the Megatech, obviously. So 1, 2, 3, Awesome. Now, starting off with bang. Nope, that's not the one. This is the one we want to go to. Let's start off with SoFi. Current stock, SoFi. SoFi already had earnings report recently, not too long ago, and sold off quite a bit off that earnings report. So here's the earnings day, earnings report. Revenue was good, EPS was bad, sold off pretty drastically into the $7 area, held the 7. Today's move right back into these ranges and actually holding above these ranges, surprisingly enough. So looking to see what happens as a day 3 play on SoFi. This is something that I've seen again and again and again on SoFi on earnings days. It sells off on earnings day, on the second day it pops up. So I'm not surprised by this move at all. Nice little inside day on this position, but we are interested to see what happens around $7.50 to $8. Possible buying, possible selling, but keep in mind we're right back into these ranges. When we are stuck in ranges on these positions, it's not really too exciting for me. So possibly just a back burner stock to keep an eye out, something to just trade if no other trades are near our levels, and that stock happens to be near a level that we might be interested in. Western Digital, nice little pop up after closing the gap. Wow, why did you close the gap, my friends? So yeah, big down move today actually on Western Digital. This was the earnings move. They sold off quite a bit off the earnings move. After hours we dropped down, we popped back up after dropping down in the after hours and holding the close from pre-earnings day. So pre-earnings day close ended up helping the stock today, but notice how we basically never got back above the earnings VWAP. So still a little bit of weakness. Once the stock managed to get above earnings VWAP, show some buying maybe around $42, we could think about a possible long move to 45, but that would be a possible day 3 play tomorrow. So I would need to see the stock get above 42. I would need to see the earnings VWAP curl back up and actually get above 42, and the stock to then hold 42 for me to be interested for a move up to 45 or higher. The fact that the stock has closed the gap after creating that earnings gap up, not really finding buyers in previous demand areas where the stock was expected to find buyers, not looking good, and the clear obvious indication of rejection of the earnings VWAP going into the second day. Also, all things not looking in the positive direction for WDC. So just got to be careful tomorrow if you are looking for long. So that's going to be, I didn't go through. Why did you not go through? So that's going to be for WDC tomorrow. Keep in mind, once again, 42 needs to get above it and hold above 42 for me to be really interested on this stock. Next on board, ladies and gentlemen, we have Pinterest. So Pinterest is, we had a monster long on the stock today. Find some buying off of the earnings anchored VWAP and actually giving us a bigger move. Tomorrow, looking to see if this range lows where the earnings anchored VWAP is at the moment can hold and give us another long opportunity. It's right around the pre-market lows too. That range area that we are so interested in. Where does it come from? It comes from this range at the moment right over here. So looking for these range lows right around 29, or even the range highs at around 29.50, 29.30 to show some buying for that possible move into the 52-week high of $31 or so, and maybe a bigger move, a continuation of this earnings catalyst for a day 2 play on the stock. So looking for buying into 29. Actually, it is above 29. What am I saying? Does that make sense to you guys? So Pinterest needs to hold above 29 for me to be interested in the long. Not going to be looking to make a decision into the $30 area. $30 area has no relevance for me. The only level I'll be looking to see to do something after will be near the 31. So aka 30 is the inflection point. It's the level where the stock can play around, just shake people off quite a bit and burn people on either direction. So that's something I'm not interested to be a part of. I'll wait patiently, see what happens on the stock once it gets up to the higher end of the ranges or the lower end of the ranges. So 29 needs to hold, and then 31 needs to break for that longs to be really good. If you're just trading between 29 and 31, I might just range trade you and kind of see what direction is showing you more buying or more selling, and just lean on that direction of the trade for the rest of the day. But earnings are positive, and the stock is looking to maybe continue that positive catalyst. Wolf speed. Like we said, I don't see the stock going much higher than that range high that we have talked about. So pretty much the stock going up to that 35.50 to 36 area, not going anywhere higher than that, and then holding the earnings anchored view op. So that's a pretty bullish sign over there. I could see the stock trickling into 36 tomorrow and opening somewhere closer to 36, and then bursting through 36 for a higher move. So wait to see. It's that simple. Near 36. So waiting to see what happens near $36. That's the upper end of that range. Once again, let me show you that range on the daily chart. Upper end of this range over here near $36. Fail break at 36. Beautiful short back down. A proper break of 36 with buying and stock pulls back to 36. Something like this. If I have my drawing tool ready. Where's my damn drawing tool? So let's say this is the level. The stock goes something like this, breaks out. That break is good, right? But if the stock is somewhere over here doing this and then goes like that, then that's probably a fail break, and then probably just comes back down, right? But if the stock is doing this, that right there is something to think about for a long, right? This could be a monkeyable spot, but when you do enter over here, you don't really have a real stop to put into the stock. So your EV and everything else doesn't really end up being right. But when you have a consolidation above that 36 area like this, then you can get long somewhere here for a bigger move up. We got 39, 40 coming into play off of this. But if it's like this and goes like that, I've seen a lot of times the stock just do that. Right? So we want something like this. We want something like this. And nowhere like this. In my opinion, those are the things that I'm looking for on Wolf tomorrow going into that 36 price point. Pfizer, not on the watch list. Goodbye. Peace out. Don't care about you at all. Our current stock still says pins. I love it. My bad for that, chat. Like I said, I'm getting used to this. Next stock is Caterpillar. That's right, I got it right. So Caterpillar, pretty expensive stock. Little light on volume usually. 10-day average is 4 million, 5 million shares. Today we did 12 million shares on day one of earnings report. So not like it's bad, but look what happens on the second day of earnings report. Usually the volume dies down drastically, especially also if the stock is going down. The volume dies down even more drastically to the downside because people only want to go long. That's just how the market is, because stocks only go up. Right? So Caterpillar over here moving drastically to the downside, selling off after earnings report. Now it matters to see what happens around this maybe 220 area, in my opinion. If we do break 220 and go lower, possible. I think 220 is a monkeyable spot. What was today's low? 224, let's say 223.50. Okay, so those are the levels I'll be watching for on Caterpillar. Zillow, this is a little interesting for us. So let's go to Zillow. Hopefully I have it set up for you guys. I do. Yay! Let's go to Zillow. 1, 2, 3, and I'll just type it in manually. Who cares? I'll just type it in manually. So if you go to Zillow, the stock was kind of doing nothing today. It was chilling, hanging out a day before earnings report. All of a sudden, a jury ruling hits the tape that the stock has, or what was it? The housing companies, or the NRA, the National Realtors Association, has to now cough up $1.6 billion for manipulation of housing prices and so on that they got caught for. So Zillow Group over here off that catalyst sold off quite a bit, and it was just non-stop selling. It was beautiful. At one point, the stock was like trying to get back above 37, and there was a lot of buying into 37, and it could not lift 37. What does that mean? There's a big seller at 37. 37 had a big iceberg seller, and the stock just could not burst above that level at all. If you got short right in front of 36 or 37, around 36.90, 36.95, your stop was the break of 37. Maybe you get slipped 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents based on how much craziness was happening on this position at that moment. But if that stop doesn't trigger, you had instantly $1.50 to the downside on this move. So 20-cent risk for a 100-cent reward. I mean, those are the type of trades you want to look for. And damn it, I missed out that opportunity. I was actually thinking for a possible break of 37 long into the higher end move right back to the retracement, because we did not see any news hitting the wire when the stock was being traded. Later on, we found out the news, and I'm glad I stayed away from the long over there, because that would have done nothing for us. As you see, the stock did manage to break. Oh no, it did not break 37. No, it did break 37. It did manage to break 37, but instantly stuffed right back to the downside and flushed once again. So a fail break of 37, a fail hold above today's VWAP and pushing back down. I had a couple anchor VWAPs from the start of this move to the downside, and from the low of this move, from where the kind of buying showed up exactly after triggering SSR on this position. 97 was yesterday's close. Hello, 97 was yesterday's close. So as you guys can see, right around that marker right there, right after triggering SSR on Zillow, they popped right back up to the north side. So I'm a little interested to see what happens on this position. Actually, let's put that back in there to see what happens. So far, this anchored VWAP is still acting as a true dictator of what's going to happen on this position, most likely. If we also zoom out to a larger time frame, we took out that 37.50 area, where the stock found some bottoms for the last few days. We finally closed the gap today, and looks like there could be more downside. I think the stock could easily go to $28 over a swing term scale if that catalyst is really weak, as I think it should be. Then the stock could easily go into the 52-week lows over here into $28. So I won't be surprised with more selling coming in. Hence, the stock needs to be on your watch list, in my opinion. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, let's just call this one Mag 7. The Magnificent 7. Right? The big tech stocks, Apple, Amazon, the QQQ tech basket, basically. Apple with a nice little inside day. Amazon kind of broke out, almost broke out, but right back into the lower end of the ranges. And this will be the story of all stocks on the day today, right? Inside day across the board. Couple stocks might have acted up and did a little bit more than inside day. I think Nvidia was one of those. We did break out of 400, went well below 400, and then popped right back into the north side and ended at 410. Look at that. So couple weakness, some weakness across the board in the tech basket, but the inside day that we were expecting yesterday basically played out that way, and nothing really happened too exciting on either side of the baskets, in my opinion. The markets actually started off red. But then later on they ended up going green. So shout out to both those baskets right before FOMC day. Does that mean that people are getting ready to buy up the market for FOMC, or are short sellers just basically taking some profits on this move down right before FOMC comes out and Papa Powell turns on the printer again, right? So a lot of questions over there. We just don't know the information. The only information we do have about FOMC at the moment is that the CME group, the CME rate tool, is considering about a 98%, 96.7%, sorry, a consideration of the interest rate hikes being exactly the same, paused, not hiked, and not cut. So still paused, and if this is what Papa Powell comes up with, then the market has kind of priced that in already. So maybe we do get some long opportunities off that, and we can get back above the year-to-date anchor VWAP, which we just recently broke back under. So watch out for that on the SPY. It is often normal for the stock market to do not too much of action going into FOMC move. There might be a little bit of play right off the open, especially for stocks that are in play like AMD, NCLH, or any of the earnings plays that we talked about today. Those are for sure worth the trade because there is a catalyst in them. But stocks like Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Netflix most likely do nothing tomorrow. This possibly just trade sideways and chop people up, as I call them, kangaroo days. So you want to be careful for those. Stocks like Tesla, Nvidia, they don't really need any catalyst to move around and give you $10 ranges. So you could possibly find some trades on those for yourselves. But I would urge you guys, as I always do, as the best YouTube channel out there for the stock market always urges people, is to take a look at the S&B Capital videos, right? They urge you to always trade stocks that are in play. That's what will make you money. Lance, I almost called him Lance Stroll. That's crazy. Lance Stroll is a Formula One driver for anyone who knows. But Lance, oh, that's awesome. That's actually awesome. Happy Halloween. Lance, that's awesome. Okay, Lance is has a new 10K. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So basically, this is about how there's these traders out there on Twitter who talk about, come join my courses, come join my classes, pay me $10,000 a year, or it's not probably that expensive, but pay me $1,000 a year, and I'll show you how I make money every single day trading only S&P 500 or only trading the QQQ, and I am so profitable. So Lance over here came out with a challenge and said, hey, if you are profitable, let's talk. Show me the proof that you are profitable, and I'll give you $10,000 if you can prove to me that you make $250,000 over in 1 year. You only traded the S&P 500 or the QQQ for over 80% of the trading days, and you didn't trade just random one-off, two-off days like a CPI day or a special catalyst event day. You're trading it almost every single day, right? So there's nobody who stepped up to this challenge. Out of millions and millions and millions of traders out there who follow Lance, and trust me, a lot of big traders in the world follow Lance. I mean, look at this guy's accolades. The number one trader for one of the biggest prop firms out there in America. He was the number one trader for 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 2021. He got his 10 years of commitment and dedication award out there. So this guy is someone who's well known in the trading industry, and he's calling out everybody. And the idea behind calling people out is you gotta trade stocks that are in play. The markets are stupid efficient, right? The markets are stupid efficient. If you think you can outsmart an algorithm or Jim Simmons, I think that's his name, Jim Simmons from from Rentech, Renaissance Technologies. If you think you can beat these guys, then good luck to you. Honestly, good luck to you. You're basically fighting against Michael Jordan over here, and you think you're going to beat Michael Jordan. Just doesn't happen that way. right? So look out for the trades on the in play names. Maybe tomorrow Tech Basket won't really be in play until 2 o'clock, and once 2 o'clock happens and the interest rate decisions are hitting the news wires, then we can start looking for some money making opportunities, some trades over there for us to capitalize on. Couple scenarios that I would like for you guys to think about for tomorrow is what would happen if this is basically called visualization, right? Visualize a trade scenario that can go north, that can go south, that can go flatline and do nothing. Once you visualize these three scenarios, then you can basically prepare and be ready for that scenario to play out and trade that scenario. If you're not preparing for it, you won't be ready for it. Then you'll be chasing a trade. You'll FOMO a trade. You'll let emotions drag you around the carpet over here and get those rug burns and so on, right? So be very careful going into the market, especially at 2 o'clock without any trades planned. If you don't have a trade plan, it's okay to just sit back and watch and learn by watching. You don't have to pay to learn. You can watch and learn. Paper trade it if you want. Couple scenarios that I wanted to get into. We are expecting a pause. Let's say the pause doesn't happen. We get a hike. A surprise hike comes out. The only scenario in my head, if that's the outcome, is more downside, right? I don't see any upside off that outcome. So I'll be ready to short these lows without a problem. If we do get a pause, which is what expected, but they're talking about, we might need one more hike or another hike going into next year. That's a little bearish. I only see one outcome from that once again. Possible pop first and then sell off. A possible pop on the words of, hey, we're gonna keep it paused, but then a sell off on possibly on the words of a hike afterwards. The third scenario is we're going to keep it paused. We're going to, however, not really keep it paused for an extended period of time that we thought we would. We're going to get ready to most likely start cutting it going forward. That is a very bullish outcome, in my opinion, where the market reclaims 4,200 like it did already tonight. It stays above 4,200 on the S&P 500 futures and keeps on rallying right back in the north side. That's a scenario that I don't really see happening. That's the probability, the percentage of that scenario actually playing out that way is very, very low in my mind. So be careful for that one though, however, because if it does play out and you're playing shorts, you're going to get burned, right? You're going to get burned. Once again, create those scenarios in your head. Create those scenarios and visualize the trades. Visualize all the possible outcomes and become a computer. Become a computer that operates on parameters such as, if this happens, I will do this. And if this happens, I will do this. Once you program yourself that way, you're never really chasing an entry. You're never really, you might get upset sometimes that you didn't get the trade, but guess what? There's always tomorrow. You come back to the market tomorrow, you apply your risk management, and you look for trades and you look for those money-making opportunities. Let's go right into all the fun stuff that's happening tomorrow outside of the interest rate decision at 2 o'clock. That's going to be the ISM manufacturing PMI at 10 o'clock. So a little bit of a market moving event at 10 o'clock tomorrow. And also at 8:15, the non-pharma employment numbers coming out at 8:15. That also could move the market. The 8:15 number could kind of set the market into a direction. And then the manufacturing numbers could either accentuate that direction or reverse that direction. And then the 2 o'clock number obviously could make or break both of these directions, because that's the end all be all final direction maker if it ends up being a surprise. But if that surprise comes out in line, then it could be an absolute nothing burger, which is also something that I've seen FOMC do recently, which is they just come out in line and then nothing really happens. And sometimes the move starts off at 2:30 instead when Powell ends up going on the podium. So that's something to keep an eye out for. 2 o'clock move sometimes very choppy, and then 2:30 move ends up being a little bit cleaner. So keep an eye out for those time periods tomorrow. 8:15, I think it was 8:15, 10 o'clock, and 2 o'clock, and also 2:30. Let's quickly go take a look at this beautiful chat we got going over here. Good evening, Prad. I smashed the like. It looks like you need some help. Yes, sir. Thank you, John. Means a lot to me. We got 6 viewers in here with 21 likes at the moment. I'll take it. More likes than the viewers watching at the moment. Nice little boost over there. I am just now realizing that the lights behind me were not on this whole time. So let me just turn them on now, because that makes this room look a lot more dull. I don't like that. Here we go. The lights are on. The lights are a little bit too bright now. A little bit too bright. I don't even know why I'm turning it on. I'm going to turn them off right after I'm done streaming anyways. I'm going to turn them off right after I'm done streaming anyways, which is in the next few minutes. But hey, the room looked a little bit dull, so I had to turn it back on. Mario is getting ready to call it a night, ladies and gentlemen. But let me just finish reading the chat over here. I'm dual tasking with the World Series and Prad. Great show face. Orange raced eyebrow face. Oh, those are emojis. Okay, I see those emojis. This is how I see your emojis on the YouTube chat, which is stupid. This is stupid. Like, YouTube chat is supposed to actually show me those emojis, but you know where I do see those emojis? I see them. Oh wait, you can't even see it. Here, this is how I see the YouTube chat show me the emojis, which is absolutely nonsensical, right? You just see like text, orange raised eyebrows. But then if you look on the streaming platform where emojis actually show up as emojis. Come on, YouTube, fix your service, fix your platform. Slack it. But yeah, it looks like you're dual tasking with the World Series of Poker, VSOP, or World Series, which is MLSB. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you tuning in. What happened to J Blue? Did they have a crash face? They did have a crash, but not like a plane crash. And their stock crashed because the stock missed on the earnings report. So yeah, that was the thing over there. I think they reported earnings pre-market today. Prad, that is much better daily watch list. It's a very readable. I love it. I'm glad that I'm helping and changing things for you guys in the better way. I'm glad I'm helping and I'm changing things. I was just looking at the watch list over there, and look, any way I can improve and provide better content and provide better education, more fun, more entertainment for you guys, let me know. Throw it in the comments. Get to my DMs. Just tell me. I'm all ears, right? I'm all ears. I love doing what I'm doing for you guys, and I want to be able to do that in the best way possible. And the only way I can do that is by feedback. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an hour 30 into the stream today. It is 9:30. We gave you some banger trade opportunities. We showed you some banger trades. We showed you some shit trades too. Sadly, we're not past that stage yet where we don't have shit trades on the board, but we'll get there. We'll get there soon enough. We're ready for tomorrow, or at least as ready as we can be. It's time for me to get out of these clothes, get into some more comfortable clothes, and get ready to go to bed and go smash those trades tomorrow. So get some sleep. Good night. Let me put this mustache back on. However, I have to hold it. Get some sleep. Good night. Have a better trading day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow here. Same time, same place at 8 p.m. Ciao.